When was the last time you took a leap of faith, trusting that everything is going to work out? Do you crave growth, or are you merely content with the status quo? If you want more out of your life, out of your career, and out of your relationships, you are in the right place. Take the leap and discover how to create a life by design rather than living it by default. Real success starts with you. Now here's your host, Colleen Biggs.
All right, listeners, hello and welcome back to another episode of Take the Leap. As always, I am your host, Colleen Biggs. And as you know, week after week, this podcast is about designing the current life that you want to live. There was a time in my life where I honestly believed, and maybe you do too, that life just happens. I really did believe that. And then someone said, did you know everything internally is a reflection of everything on your outer? I'm like, I don't really think I understand what that means. At the time, I was like, is that some woo-woo thing? What are we talking about here? Because I was very corporate. I even wore all the suits and stuff, had a lot of masculine energy. And then they said, well, you can create any life you want. You just look at your life today. Look around. Did you create it all? And I'm like, well, I think I did. And they're like, then if you don't like it, change it. And I don't know what happened in that moment, but I was like, whoa, I can design my life any way I want. And they're right, because I designed all of this exactly the way it is today. And I'm not okay with this anymore. This is surviving and I want to thrive. So guess what? We're going to change my life up, which led me to leaving corporate America, starting the Leap community, starting my business consulting business, doing conferences, podcasts, producing magazines, you name it, books. I've had 7 #1 bestsellers, all of that because I decided I wanted to change the outcome of what my life looked like. And you too can do that, I swear. And what I love about today's guest is she's done that for herself, but she's taught me since the day I met her. And I remember the day, it was in October. I want to say 2022. Was it 2022? And we were in Puerto Vallarta, but I met her at the airport because we were both on the same flight going down. So we got to talk the whole way. I have never met anyone in my life that knew so much about the mouth. And then when she started telling me about the mouth and how it's like literally begins like the health of your entire body, I was like, shut the freaking front door. Her name is Sheree Wertz. She's going to be with us today to tell us all about how important your mouth is. We're talking like parents, bedwetting. This is about the mouth. You all think it's about the bladder or they're not able to control the bladder. We're debunking all of that today. So parents, I want you to listen up. The other thing I want you to listen up is if you're a snorer, you don't sleep well, you can't breathe well at night, you sleep with your mouth open, you breathe out of your mouth, you need to stay around for this too. All of that is going to be to the discussion that we have today. But first, Sheree knows I do have to thank my amazing sponsor of today's show, Animated Holiday Lights. And at our company, we're dedicated transforming spaces into extraordinary wonderlands through our expertly crafted permanent light installations. With a team of skilled professionals and a passion for spreading joy and cheer, we strive to create captivating light displays that leave a lasting impression, and you never need to climb a ladder again. By the way, they're on my house, and I absolutely love them because I was the one hanging off of the eaves. Our lights can dance to music, any song, any color, any holiday. From residential homes to commercial properties, our permanent light installations are designed to enhance the beauty and festive spirit of any location and can be used for ongoing annually down lighting. We take pride in our addition and detail using high quality materials and advanced techniques to create stunning visual experiences that surpass expectations. Join us in this magical journey as we bring the holiday spirit to life through our dancing permanent light installations. Explore our portfolio and see the transformative power of our work at animatedholidaylights.com. Thank you, Animated Holiday Lights, for being the sponsor of today's show. Okay, everybody ready? Because you're like, okay, the mouth. Tell me about the mouth. I hate going to the dentist. So do I. And I only go because I have to. But then when I realized all of this, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Sheree Wertz is not only a dedicated mom, she's a great mom, y'all. She's an oral health coach and a myofunctional therapist with a passion for empowering families to take control of their health and well-being. And with years of experience in the dental field, I mean, she's got more than years. She's got like decades, centuries. It's generational. I'll have her talk a little bit about the generations in her family. Sheree has developed a deep understanding of the critical role oral health plays in overall wellness. Her journey led her to specialize in myofunctional therapy, which is a niche that allows her to address issues relating to breathing, sleep, and oral function. Sheree, welcome to today's show.
Thank you. Wow, that was amazing.
And for those of you that don't
much.
know, in her background, she has bristles. I love it. I mean, come on. It's the best stuff. Like, you can't make this up.
That's actually a dinosaur. My bristles character is different.
No.
This is like my Myo Munchie dinosaur that I use with kids.
Oh, so smart. Because when you're working with pediatrics, it's way different. But you prefer to actually get them young, right? Like you want them kind of before their first dental visit that they've ever had, because you taught me something and I've looked at every single one of my grandkids differently. She was like, you've got to have a nickel space in between every single tooth. And everyone knows I have 13 grandkids. So I'm staring, if they have teeth, I'm staring at their teeth now, looking at them like, are they okay? She's spaced out. He's spaced out. Oh, that one's not. We're going to have issues with that one. So, I mean, this has been fun for me, Sheree, I have to tell you. Talk to us about your background. You've got, like I said, generations of individuals, even in your previous marriage. You've been in pretty much the dental world for your entire life.
Right. It's the only job I had. It's the only, I've never worked another job. I had, when I was an infant, I was colicky. I had an iron deficiency. I had a lot of high fevers. I was given an antibiotic, tetracycline, which in the 60s, they didn't know created staining on your adult teeth.
Oh.
So because of that, my teeth were yellow and gray and had big orange spots. And I was teased. Back then, it wasn't bullying, it was teasing. And I was made fun of. So I didn't smile a lot. So everyone wanted to know what was wrong with me. Nothing was wrong with me, but when I opened my mouth, I was made fun of. So it affects your self-esteem. And I learned at a young age, your teeth affect a lot about you. And so apparently that was my journey. And it started at a young age. And so then I went into dental assisting when I was 16, and then I became a dental hygienist, and I married a dentist whose dad was an orthodontist. So that's where all of that comes in. And I didn't know till he passed away. He was talking about myofunctional therapy and expanding the airway. And I'm working with a doctor, Dr. Boyd in Chicago, and he knew my father-in-law, and he's like, I need his paperwork because he started talking about this. I had no idea. So
wow.
Daughter was wetting the bed and we were told she would outgrow it, and she didn't. She grew into different problems. And I thought bedwetting was a bladder problem, not a tongue position, mouth breathing problem. And that when you're in fight or flight, your body gets rid of things you don't need at night. So for adults, they night sweat or they get up and go to the bathroom a few times. For kids, they wet the bed. And that's because of the fight or flight and the vagus nerve, which is the 10th cranial nerve. And I did not know any of this stuff. So I'm a dental hygienist. Her dad's a dentist. Her grandfather is an orthodontist. And none of us were taught about.
She's wetting the bed.
And she's wetting the bed. And I'm seeing, I spent $10,000 seeing a urologist. That was the wrong doctor. But I didn't know that. So you don't know what you don't know. And so that led me to myofunctional therapy, and Dr. Boyd telling me if they don't have spaces between the baby teeth, they're going to grow up having airway issues. And then they'll snore, they'll clench and grind because your body compensates. It wants you to be alive. So when you're not meeting your basic needs, which are oxygen, water, enough sleep, and nutrition, it's going to affect everything, and it's all related. Your health starts in your mouth. It starts here. How are you breathing? What are you putting in? So it starts with your mindset first, but I talk about starting from the top down. What do you believe? How are you breathing? What are you putting in? Because your gut is your second brain. But when you're not chewing, and we don't chew as much since the agricultural revolution because our foods are softer, more processed. We used to nurse our kids until they were 3 or 5 years old. Now we're lucky if we nurse till they're 6 months.
Oh, I just thought of something. Everyone's moving dogs off of kibble onto this soft food that's supposed to be so much better for them. I think that's going to be the same issue because their teeth, like they're canines, right? They like need to chew, 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 chew. And now we're moving them over, to all this soft food. Now, I don't have any dogs. I just know I have friends that have dogs, and I've seen, a lot around that where it's healthier for them to have the softer foods. And I always thought like my dogs had kibble when they were younger, and I always thought that was good for them. But yeah, so okay. So we're talking about fight or flight and how you breathe at night. So if somebody, let's talk about families. You specialize in the family. Tell me about a recent family you worked with or families that you've worked with, and what are the most common things in the ages, because you've seen this over and over and over again. So someone can relate to be like, yep, that's my child. And yes, that's exactly what's happening. And I didn't know, because you said it even has to do with behavioral issues. And I would love to hear more about that.
So I usually start with one person in the family because they're having a problem. Either they're wetting the bed, they're not compliant on their CPAP machine, they're snoring and they're keeping their wife awake, or they don't sleep in the same bedroom, or they've had to wear braces 2 or 3 times, which my daughter did, because the tongue is not functioning correctly. Form follows function. So if your tongue is pushing forward, we swallow 800 to 2,000 times a day, and it puts 1 to 6 pounds of pressure on your teeth, which then the teeth will come forward, creating an open bite. So some people can't even bite into a sandwich because of the way their teeth come together. You really need to get that when the kids are younger. So that's where I see younger families, because most orthodontics, which my father-in-law was an orthodontist, they say wait till you're 7 or up. Wait till you lose all your baby teeth. You're not ready yet. Well, by the time they're 7 or 8, they've had 80% of their growth and development. So what Dr. Boyd teaches is if you can get to them when they're 2 or 3, and you can start with one of these Myo munchies and start getting them chewing, what it does is get them chewing on both sides, not chewing on one or the other, developing the muscles where one eye is lower, or they get venous pulling because they can't sleep. But the chewing is really important, because that's when it all changed for us. And when you chew and when you're nursing, your tongue is on the roof of your mouth. When your tongue is up, it acts like a natural palatal expander. When it's low, your cheek pressure pushes the teeth in, so then you have more crowded teeth. Your tongue is down. The roof of your mouth is the floor of your nasal sinus. So when your tongue is down and you're developing, it grows more vaulted, versus when it's up, it grows wider. So you can see if your palate's wider, your nasal sinus is going to be wider. You're going to be able to breathe better. Mm-hmm. So what's happening is our kids are bottle feeding. They're sucking instead of their tongue being up. So their tongue is low. They're developing a high arch. There's no room then for their tongue to fit when they get older. So now they get braces, but most conventional orthodontists straighten teeth. They don't widen the arch in the airway, and your upper teeth should come over your lower teeth like a box. And if they don't, and your tongue is forward, then your lower jaw is going to grow in front of your upper jaw. And then when you're sleeping, your tongue is going to block your airway. And when that happens, a lot of kids will sleep with their butt up in the air. That's a compensation that your child is making to get more oxygen when they sleep. Because when you breathe through your nose warms, filters, humidifies the air that you breathe, and you get nitric oxide CO2 exchange. You get 18% more oxygen to your brain and body when you breathe through your nose. When you breathe through your mouth, you get none of that. And then you don't even get that filtration in your nose. All you get is the filtration in your tonsils if you still have them. And then the air goes right into your lungs. So it's not getting that filtration. And when you're breathing through your nose, you use your diaphragm to breathe. When you breathe through your mouth, you use your chest. You're taking the diaphragm out too. So all of these different functions are affected when you breathe out of your mouth versus your nose.
Okay, so a really good question we could ask someone listening right now is, where's your tongue in your mouth? Because my tongue, when I was just sitting here listening to you, always rests like straight on the top of the roof of my mouth, right? It's always, just like that. It's always sitting there. And so much so that I always get like teeth marks along the side of my, tongue, because it's always up on the roof. And I'm thinking, I sleep so sound. I breathe so quiet. I always breathe through my nose, that when if I ever have a cold, which is very, very, very rare, it's hard for me to sleep at night at all because I have to clear my nasal passage to get sound sleep. So I realize that if I have to breathe out of my mouth, that's like a bad thing. But most people that snore, it's because their tongue is like blocking their airway, right? And it's just kind of free flowing in their mouth. Is that the best way to say it?
Yeah, it's just floating. So when
Floating.
we met, that's what we were talking about is
Yeah.
where's your tongue, right? That was one of the things that
She
we
was
were
like, "Where's your tongue?" I was like, "What are we talking about here?" Because I only go to the dentist to clean my teeth, take care of it if I have like a root canal or a cavity. Like that's what I think of oral care and hygiene for the mouth. I think everyone, I'm going to be honest, unless you're a dentist or an orthodontist or maybe a dental hygienist, I would say 80% of everybody else probably just believes because they've not been educated that it's brushing your teeth, flossing, mouthwash, and going to the dentist to get your teeth cleaned. Would you say that's
Yeah, I call it our BFF with a double D. Brush, floss, fluoride, brush, floss, fluoride, diet, and dentist. Like if you Google how do you prevent cavities, that's what it gives you, a BFF with a double D. So that's what I call it because it gets people's attention, but it's more than just that. You know, cavities are happening because we're mouth breathing, we're drying off the tissue. Our saliva bathes our teeth all day long. So the more we chew, the more saliva we form, and that it has digestive enzymes. So it breaks down our food before it even gets to our gut. So now we're chewing less, we're having more irritable bowel, more gastric reflux, all of that stuff. It's all because of the mouth and how we're using it and how we're not using it. And in dentistry, no pain, no problem is what people think. When you tell them you have a cavity, they're like, well, I didn't feel anything. Well, you're not going to feel pain. By the time you feel pain in your mouth, you have a problem. Like,
oh yeah, it's hit a nerve. Yeah, there's a nerve,
yeah.
of course. Yeah. Okay, so I really didn't know that. And I don't know how to explain it other than I think it was just bad water where I lived because it was tap water. But as a child, I was always in the dentist and getting cavities filled constantly. As an adult, I've never had one cavity ever. It's like I just have the leftover fillings from when I was a child and had all those cavities, but as an adult, no. And as my health has gotten better, nothing ever. I mean, I get nothing but compliments when I go get my teeth cleaned of how well I'm taking care of myself. And I'm like, really? I didn't even realize I was. But I think diet and nutrition and water play a huge role in that.
Well, and that's where I have a problem because that's what we were taught in hygiene school. You have to teach people how to brush fluoride. They have to see their dentist. But you can see a whole family of patients. Like I see families, right? How is one person have cavities and the rest don't? They all have the same habits. They have the same diet. It's a pH problem.
Oh,
if
okay.
you are a child or an adult having cavities, you have a pH problem. So you know that I had breast cancer too,
Yeah.
right? No disease happens in the body if your pH is balanced.
Right.
pH in your mouth, pH in your gut. If you have a good pH and a good microbiome, you're not going to have any disease. So if you have cavities, you have a pH issue. Yes, it could also be an oral hygiene problem. Maybe you're not brushing. It's a diet problem. It can be a mouth breathing problem. It's a combination of things. And you have to look at everything when you're talking, why are you having a cavity problem? It's a warning sign. Your mouth gives us warning signs.
Yeah.
And like we were talking, it's connected to your whole body. But we have our healthcare system is not a healthcare system. It's a sick care system. We treat symptoms, even cavities. We wait till you have cavities and then we treat them. So we wait till you have a problem and then we treat the symptoms basically. But that's why I want to get to parents and I work with families because you can prevent all of this stuff. But you have to know what to look for and you have to look for it sooner in order to prevent the problem. And it's less cost effective. It's easier to change your habits. It's just little shifts. Everybody thinks you need to make this major shift in habits, but you don't. It's just little tiny shifts like how are you breathing? What are you eating? Are you getting enough water? We are dehydrated and our body's made of 50 to 80% water, depending on size. There's a lot of factors, but when we get enough water, that water then gets the oxygen to the cells. So oxygen, water, nutrition, and getting enough sleep, those are 4 things that you need. And in Maslow's theory of hierarchy, those are your basic needs. Most people are not even meeting those basic needs. If you don't meet those basic needs, you can't focus. You don't have the motivation to even move up the pyramid. But we need to get back to the basics because we're not even talking about that. And we're so consumed with wealth. But if you don't put your health first, you spend your money getting your wealth back.
I'm just going to say hell yeah to that because in corporate America, I was sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night. And I looked at a photo. I went back at some photos when I just come out of corporate America and was doing all of these luncheons all over the United States. And my husband had done videos and photos, and I did not even recognize me. I was so weathered. My eyes were like sunken in. I had these deep, deep, deep lines on my forehead. I looked like death. And I have not done anything between then and now besides take liquid collagen, drink 8,000 times more water. I'm constantly drinking water. I carry around a 40-ounce jug and just fill it up 3-4 times a day. That's all I'm doing is drinking water. I sleep 7-8 hours a night now. I eat healthy and I'm like happier. I look younger. This is just weird. It's weird that has happened, but I've watched the shift of my body just from taking better care of myself. And every time I go to the dentist, they rave about it. And honestly, I'm just going to admit this to everybody. I don't brush my teeth before I go to bed, and it's the worst thing. And it's rare, like once a week maybe. And I know that's the worst thing to say, but I brush my teeth every single day. But for some reason, I just have this thing about brushing my teeth before I go to bed. I always take my vitamins for nighttime, drink a whole bunch of water, and then I go to bed, but I don't brush my teeth. I know I'm shocking everyone right now, but I have to tell you, every time I go into the dentist, they're like, oh my gosh, your teeth are so great. They're so clean. They're so white, like nothing. I know I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying that I think that maybe diet and health and nutrition have like you're saying, have so much to do with the health. So if we started off this podcast saying your health begins in your mouth, everything. And you're right. We treat symptoms. So what are just some things today that somebody can take away from this to change their habits? Me, I need to start brushing my teeth tonight. I know you're probably cringing right now.
Most people brush once a day for less than a minute. The majority.
Oh no, I have an electric toothbrush and it goes for 2 minutes and I run it out on purpose. And sometimes I'll do like squats. Because then I can get 2 minutes of squats. I mean, it's in addition to my workout, but I'm standing there. I might as well. Let's just give some pointers for someone, and we're probably talking about teenagers to adults. We're not talking about children that can't choose for themselves or aren't listening to this podcast. But what would we recommend to someone who had a teenager or an adult right now that they could do to just adjust health of the mouth?
Yeah, I have a program called Shift. Simple habit incentives for transformation, right? So it's simple things that you can do for free. It doesn't cost anything. Breathe through your nose. Use your diaphragm. Most of us breathe incorrectly. When you take a deep breath in, I call it box breathing. So you take a deep breath in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds. But when you take that breath in, your stomach should come out. Hold for 4 seconds. And when you breathe out, your stomach should come in. That's using your diaphragm the correct way. It slows down your breathing. So your vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve. So that's why I say everything starts in the mouth. Your vagus nerve controls your fight or flight. When people have anxiety, when they have depression, when our kids can't control their behavior, if you just teach them how to breathe, take a deep breath in and out, that calms the vagus nervous system. It calms the central nervous system. So just breathing does so much for people. And we don't talk about it because like I said, it's like right here is where we need to start to be healthy. The first thing you do when you're born is take a breath. The last thing you do when you die is take a breath. We start and end our life with a breath. We can't live without oxygen for more than 6 minutes. We can live without food for 3 weeks. We can live without sleep and without water for 3 days, but we can't live without oxygen for more than 6 minutes. So when we're talking about being healthy, breathing is where we should start, and it doesn't cost anything, which is probably why we don't talk about it, because it's $1 trillion healthcare industry. Why would we talk about something that's free?
Okay. I want to close this out with, what are the top things that you would say in a family right now, whether it's mom, dad, baby, sister, older brother, younger daughter? What are the symptoms? And if they are challenged with any of these symptoms, how do they reach you?
So if they're having behavioral issues and you don't know why, if you're think how you are as an adult, if you're sleep deprived, if your kids are sleep deprived, they're going to be acting out. They can't tell you they're tired. They don't know they're tired. They're not getting enough oxygen. So look at them. Look at them at the dinner table. Look at them while they're coloring. Look at your family members. Look at each other. If you're sitting like with your mouth open, shoulders forward, you have dark circles under your eyes, kids are walking on their tiptoes, that's probably a sign you're breathing through your mouth. When you breathe through your mouth, you're getting less oxygen. You're probably losing 40% of your water when you breathe through your mouth at night. So videotape each other sleeping. If you're sleeping with your mouth open, you're breathing through your mouth. If you're breathing through your mouth, it's a problem. And that's where myofunctional therapy comes in, because we teach you how to control your tongue and your mouth. It's like physical therapy for your mouth. So you can breathe better, sleep better, lose less water when you're sleeping. Who wouldn't feel better if they had more oxygen and they were not dehydrated? If you're dehydrated, you could be having headaches, you could be having night sweats, you could be wetting the bed for kids, leg cramps, so many things when you're dehydrated, and people don't even think about being dehydrated when they're having a lot of these symptoms. So looking at that, just even putting a warm wash rag on your nose and blowing your nose before you go to sleep, that'll help you sleep better. So look at all these things. You can take your phone, I think I have my phone, and put it under your nose and blow. You can see how is the air coming out your nose. Are you able to breathe through your nose? Hold water in your mouth and see, can you breathe through your nose? Because if you can't breathe through your nose, we need to start there. Why can't you breathe through your nose? Because if you can't breathe through your nose, you're not going to be healthy. Never.
Man, that is so much. There's so much you can do to solve problems. These are solving the root issues. We're not talking about symptoms here. We're solving the symptoms will go away once you solve the root problem, but it's all starting in the mouth for sure.
Swallowing
that's what you're
pills.
saying.
If you can't swallow pills, that's a tongue issue. So
yeah. See, yeah, my husband's got all that stuff. Okay, I'll be hiring you to work with my husband. That's just a normal thing. I hire pretty much everyone I know to work with my husband for an issue that he has. And I love it. It's like the best job I have. Okay, ShereeWertz.com is a great place. We've got all of that at their fingertips. It's ShereeWertz.com. And then we talked about shift. So if they go to ShereeWertz.com and click on shift/shift, they can use the code SAVE50 to save $50. And what is shift going to give them?
So shift, you can go monthly. I have a lifetime membership, and I charge $411 because $411 is information.
It's the $411.
So you get it for a lifetime. I came up with that number because I just decided people need to know this. And it's got 167 modules in it. It starts from, birth to beyond if you're pregnant, and then it's got different stages of what to look for your kids. And then you get into my community. I go live. You can get a Zoom with me. So you get more different things if you join that. But that's what that is. It's my mind, mouth, body shift program. And you just get me to talk to. Not everybody can afford one-on-one with me. Not everybody needs one-on-one with me, but that's like a medium way of being able to have access to me and get the information that you don't know. I didn't know it. And I've been in the dental field for over 30 years. So I figured if I didn't know it, and this is what I've done my whole life, how many people don't know it?
Oh, no, they don't. They don't know it. And on ShereeWertz.com, there's a place for them to contact you to schedule a call so they can just say, hey, I know a lot of parents are sitting out there thinking like, my child's situation's unique. Just like, your child is the gifted one and they, we get it. I get it. It's unique, but you probably it's more common than you think. But you don't have any other children to compare it to. So it makes total sense to us. Sheree and I are both moms. We understand it made sense to us too. So make sure you connect with her directly. You can go also to Facebook and message her at Healthy Mouth Moms. That's a group on Facebook. You can find her on LinkedIn, Sheree Wertz, as well as Instagram, dental_hygiene_411. So any of these places, where's your platform of choice? Just DM Sheree there, find her on our website, or you can contact the show at info@colleenbiggs.net, and I will send you her contact information if you need that directly. We can also connect you with her there. But I'm going to highly recommend, if you are a family and you're a mom or a dad and you're listening to this and your children or you or anyone in your family has any of these symptoms we talked about, it is completely solvable. Like you can you can resolve this with a little bit of work and training, and then you'll never have that issue again. I could not imagine sleeping with a CPAP. Like literally I couldn't. And I've got some of my own grandkids are wetting their beds.
Mhm.
And I know exactly, what the issue is after I talk to you. And, but we want it sometimes so bad, but not necessarily they're willing to do the work, or to get with a specialist. And the first thing they do is exactly what you said. They're going to go to like a urinary specialist, and it's not going to solve their problem. It really isn't going to solve their problem. So I think this was a really great conversation. You're the healthy mouth mom. We love you. Everything you do out there, everything that you create, there's so much more coming for Sheree. I would have to say she is someone to watch. So please go find her on social media and connect with her, because she has so much more coming out that you don't even know about. So many more programs for families and kids. And she's just beginning with her education. And this is one of the most important things we need to do. And I want to thank you, Sheree, for the education that you're offering parents, because it is not easy. It's not easy being a mom or a dad, and we have so much stress on ourselves for making sure we're doing the right things, and we don't know how to solve some of the problems that our children have. And I love it that we've got specialists that are rising out there and saying, hey, this is a problem and everybody needs to know about it. So if you know a group that needs to be educated on this, Sheree also speaks in many, many, many groups, whether online, whether in person, large conferences. She can educate on that as well. So we need to keep that in mind. But Sheree, any last thoughts that you want to leave with us before we wrap it up today?
Just that, a lot of this stuff is preventable, and you can stop it no matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you are, what's going on. If you think that you're seeing some of these things, please reach out. I'm here to help. The more I know I don't know. And I wish I would have known this stuff. So that's why I put all of this stuff out there. And follow your mom intuitions. You just follow your intuition for everything when it comes to your health, because you have those feelings and they're never, never wrong.
That's a great reminder. Moms, you're the only mom that's ever been, and your only mom that's you that will ever be. And your children are looking for you for the guidance for whatever they need. So, and I know how frustrating it could be because you want to solve all their problems. But please, please, please stop treating all the symptoms and get out there and throw away the stupid pull-ups. They shouldn't even make them for children that age. Have you seen how big they make pull-up these days?
Pretty much. But you know what? This is why I went down this rabbit hole, because my daughter, it became a social issue, wouldn't spend the night because she was wetting the bed. So I have a different viewpoint, because I couldn't help her because I didn't know. And that's how a lot of this started for me. Becoming a myofunctional therapist was because my daughter was in pain, and it affected her socially, which should have never happened. If I had known sooner that her mouth was the reason she was wetting the bed and we were getting it to stop, it's just like, oh my goodness, how did I know that?
Who would connect those dots? Who would?
No, and we did everything, pills, everything they said you should do for bedwetting, we tried and nothing worked.
Yeah. So you get to the mouth, and then it works because you've seen it work with families that you're working with today. All right, everyone, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you again for joining us. Until next time, remember, be you and be strong. Bye-bye for now.
We hope you enjoyed our show today, as our guests shared their secrets on designing their life by taking the necessary leaps to expand their influence and attract the right people and clients into their lives. To start these easy steps for yourself, be sure to visit www.colleenbiggs.net/freebies to download the 7 ways to increase your exposure today.